There's nothing I hate more than education or that industry. So
What have you gotten from those 8 years?
I was working 24/7, and then I realized it's even worse than working in agencies.
Why do I need to go through this entire process in order to come up with a brand? Well, I can just easily subscribe to one of the tools and just...
See, this is like a dagger in us.
We are living in a time where brands are everywhere, but clarity is rare. In 2026, the market is no longer about who's louder. It's about who's felt. We've moved from a world of marketing to a world of perception, where people don't buy products, they buy meaning. They don't follow brands, they follow identity. And they don't trust what you say, they trust what they experience. But here is the challenge. A lot of business owners, marketeers, and even brand specialists are still thinking in old frameworks. They ask, what should our logo look like? What should we post? How do we get more visibility? Instead of asking the harder questions, what do people feel when they interact with us? Are we consistent or just active? Are we building a brand or just filling a space? This episode is for marketeers who are tired of trends and want depth. Business owners who invested in branding but still feel disconnected from their audience. And anyone building something and asking, why isn't it landing the way I expected? And to explore this conversation, I wanted someone who doesn't just design brands, but actually understands what makes them matter. Amal Al-Beiti, an Emirati design director and founder of Tiny Toaster Design Studio, based in Dubai. With over 12 years of experience across government, hospitality, lifestyle, and F&B sectors. Amal leads a creative studio that blends strategy, storytelling, and design, creating brands that are not just seen, but experienced. Her work is deeply rooted in one idea, that branding is not a decoration, it's a translation. And what made this conversation even more interesting for me is that I previously met her twin sister, Ibtisam, in another episode. And I remember thinking, there's something about those two sisters, a depth in how they see the world and express it. So today I was curious to understand Amal's perspective, especially when it comes to how she sees brands and builds them. Before we get started, I just want to share something with you. My team told me that around 90% of the people who watch my content haven't actually subscribed to the channel. Of course, that's completely your choice. But if you do subscribe, you're supporting someone who's trying to share the essence of her experience and what she's learning without any financial return. Your support truly means a lot to me. So I'd really appreciate it if you decide to hit the subscribe button after watching this episode. Also, I'd like to thank our partners in Vocast, 321 Studio, QRU Communication, and With Feeling. So, Amal, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Safia. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming and taking the time to be with me in Vocast. It means a lot.
It's a pleasure.
Because it reflects really trust, connection, and that's what I'm always looking for when I meet people.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. So, the choice of color.
The choice of color, yes. Today I'm camouflaged with the whole setup.
There is a philosophy behind picking colors.
Really? Today I woke up this morning and I thought it feels like red today, so I'll go with red.
Oh, yeah, I think so red with red tea.
I ended up matching the curtains, the red tea.
Beautiful energy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Amal, in every episode of Vocast, we carry a question from our previous guest. And she was an expert in the area of emotional intelligence.
Wow.
Actually, it's a very nice episode. I really encourage you to watch it.
I will definitely watch it.
Yeah. So her question about the turning point in your life.
Okay.
Can you recall a moment where you can really say that this is
a turning point?
A turning point for me.
It's such a huge question, honestly. But yeah, just thinking about it, like at the top of my head, I would say like a pivotal moment in my life was after COVID. It was 2022. And because I've been running my own business, I've got a branding business called Tiny Toaster Design. I can explain the name later. I'm sure there's questions. It's been running successfully now for 8 years, alhamdulillah. And after COVID, I always had this thing that I always wanted to do a master's abroad, but somewhere that I've never been. I wanted to throw myself into an adventure, into the unknown. So I remember during that time, I applied to the University of Edinburgh, a city that I've never been to before. I used to watch Sandy Bell as a
A
kid.
glimpse of from my memory now, historical buildings,
Historical
and
building.
brown,
Yes.
and rainy weather.
Very Harry Potter vibes. And I've never been there, you know? So
I've been there.
Oh, you have? Okay. I've never been there before applying. So I just applied. I got accepted. It was a degree that I've always been very interested in, digital media. It had a lot of like AI design in it. So it was something that I wanted to also add to my skill set. I got accepted and it happened very fast. And I threw myself into this adventure, and more than just like, you know, continuing with my studio work and my team back in Dubai, I was studying at a very intense course. And at the same time, I had put myself in an environment where I was alone for the first time in my life. I'm an identical twin. I also live, you know, with my family. I've got a lot of sisters. I've got a brother and friends. And Dubai life and our life as Arabs in general is very community based. And for the first time, I was by myself. And
Without Ibtisam.
no, without Ibtisam, without anyone, although she did come and visit quite a lot. So that was learning for me, you know. I learned a lot about myself. I learned, you know, about things that I like, that I don't like. But more than anything, when you're put in this like quiet position where you're actually in solitude by yourself, I think it's so important, and you understand yourself, you ground yourself more, you know. So I think as a terms of personal growth, I think that was a turning point in my life. You know, it could be for, you know, others, it could be something simple. You know, I left when I was this age and that was it. But for me, when you're a little bit older in life, when you're already established, it's different. So that was important.
I think listening to you, the turning point here is really taking that hidden wish
Yes.
inside of you. Is not, I think, it's not really about studying something. It's
The studying was a wonderful bonus, but it was the sense of adventure, the unknown.
sense of adventure.
Yeah.
Because we mentioned Ibtisam, by the way, the identical twin of Amal, and Amal is 10 minutes
older.
10 minutes
10 minutes
older.
older.
And I've met Ibtisam, by the way, and there is a very beautiful episode. I really invite you to watch it. It's about storytelling.
Yes, it's our favorite in different ways.
In different ways. So can you remember the first logo that, you know, caught your attention? Where you were just staring, looking?
Oh, these are like questions I've never even thought of. First logo, I don't think I can recall like a first, but I mean, I look at brands as I look at people. Like, you know, like I suppose when you're in the industry itself, I never see it just as a logo. I see it. I judge brands like the way I judge people. You know, is it confident? Like, you know, when you're sitting with a confident person, and they're quiet. Like Apple. You know, Apple is such a universally well-known executed brand. So when you're using Apple products or you're buying anything Apple, there is a certain like messaging that they give out as a brand where everything is clear. It's not over-explained. You form a trust towards it, like you would if you met somebody for the first time and you didn't feel like you needed to prove anything, like they were just very quiet in their own confidence. So brands are very similar. Apple is like that. It's a quiet brand that everyone trusts. Its messaging is simple. Its packaging is simple. Everything about it on the surface is simple, but you're sort of drawn to it because you trust it. So it's when I look at brands, I would actually never look at the logo first. I would look at how does it make me feel. And I tell my clients this because I work with a lot of startups, and startups are my passion. I love working with startups because at the end of the day, like a lot of them, they come to me and they say, I need a logo. We always go through, you know, a lot of meetings and discussions. you need more than a logo. You need to create a feeling. You need to create a human, like a human expression through your brand.
And reveal your story.
Reveal your story, because there's
Exactly.
always a story. And this is why I love branding and I love this aspect of design, because there's always story and there's always like, space to get that human emotion out of a person.
So if it's not a logo, then let's move to an art piece. I don't know why I have this assumption that you're an artist as well. You draw or you paint or you have that connection with art.
Oh, definitely. I mean, as a child,
do?
I was always
Okay.
drawing. I was drawing. I thought I was going to be the next Van Gogh as a child. I have favorites. I like pop art. I like Andy Warhol a lot. I like the pop, the color, the bold arts that sort of like, doesn't conform to the norm. But there's so much. I tend to never really label a favorite anything, because I think even my own interests are seasonal. Like sometimes I might really love like a certain art form, and then another season, like I had a Arabic calligraphy phase, and then I had a realism phase, and then a pop art phase. So it's
I wonder
it's good.
why did you say Van Gogh? Because I have that thing also.
I think it's been
towards
imprinted
Van
in our
Gogh. I
brain
don't know
since we
why.
were kids.
So
We're
maybe
all-
from the cartoon, or I don't know from what
Maybe, yeah.
exactly.
From his stories.
So can I say that your journey with branding and designs, it was pretty let's say determined or designed already?
Since I was a child.
Yeah.
When I was a child, I loved drawing. I love expression through like anything visual, arts, whatever. But I think I didn't even know what I wanted to do. Initially, like actually my bachelor's was in literature. I thought I wanted to go into writing. And I did this with my twin sister. So we both were like, we loved reading. We went into literature, poetry, but I always had this like design at the back of my head. So once we graduated, and then for her path was much quicker. She quickly realized she likes education and everything. And I realized there's nothing I hate more than education or that industry. So then I realized I was stuck and I didn't have the tools for this. Like, nowadays, you need the software, you need everything. So I made a very quick decision to go back, not to uni, but to do like crash courses, diplomas in learning software. So at the end of the day, when you're in the design field, it's really a portfolio that the people look at initially in terms of software. So I learned the software in a year, all like everything. So I did that. And then I went into different internships. I interned with Jam Jar initially, and then I went into Brown Book. And I thought I wanted to go into editorial magazines. And then I realized that wasn't really my passion. So I moved. And then I worked in IMG, the IMG World of Adventures. I was part of the creative team.
Wow.
We did the logos and the brands for a lot of the rides. I did the Powerpuff Girls personally and the Spider-Man one. And then after that, I moved to an Emirati animation studio, and I feel that's where I really identified what I love in the design industry, and that is branding. Whenever we had a design project and I was able to lead it, I felt that, okay, this is what gave me that buzz. So having worked there for years, the company closed down, and then I thought, oh my goodness, what do I do now? Do I apply for another agency job, or do I start my own thing? And it was a bit like Scotland. I think I have this thing where I like to throw myself into the unknown and sort of just see what happens. So I told myself, okay, 6 months. If it works, I go for it. If it doesn't work, I'll go back and work in government or agency or private or something.
It's the nature of adventures. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is it. I like to make my life difficult and then see what I can do with it.
Wait until I tell my daughter about IMG.
It's wonderful. And by the way, we were working on it, while it was still nothing. Sometimes I passed the infrastructure and it's like we were on the design before it was even built.
Wow.
So that was a great chapter in my life. So once the theme park opened, that whole department, it was like there was no need for it anymore.
Being in at the end of that part of your journey in a place where they had to shut down, and then having those questions about what is exactly you need to do right now, which path you need to take, what type of questions you had in your mind? Because now you are not just an artist, a brand specialist, or a designer. gonna be an entrepreneur as well.
Yeah, and it's difficult.
And it's difficult. So
Yeah.
what type of questions you had to ask yourself in order to navigate into this new chapter?
You know, I asked myself a lot of hard questions, and I remember before opening my own company, I actually had a job interview for a very good company. So it was sort of like the easy path, but again, I wouldn't be able to choose like projects I'm passionate about. It would be again a desk job, and it would be a clock in 9 to 5, and I really don't believe in this 9 to 5, especially in this industry. I feel like it stifles your creativity, and as creatives, we can't be in the same place 24/7. You know, so the questions I had to ask myself is, like, is it going to make you happy? You know, I had this job lined up for me, and I just thought, if I go there, sure, I've ticked the boxes, but am I going to be really happy? And then you hear so many stories of people that are, you know, in corporate jobs, that their dream is just to get out. And I told myself, you know, but I have the opportunity to try and experiment. And I think it was just that one question: which one will make you happier? And of course, you have to recognize, you know, your privilege. And I was in a place where I was living at home. I was able to take, you know, calculated risks. So I thought, if not now, when? So it just felt like, okay, I have no dependents. I have nothing. I'm living at home. I have a safety net. This is the best time to take the risk. So I did.
Nice. And what have you got from those 8? What have you gotten from those 8 years?
Oh my goodness, Safia, this is your questions. They're like, I think they formed a lot of my identity. Honestly, like these 8 years, including the 2 years that I was still running my business, but working remotely from Scotland and studying, I feel it shaped my personality. I feel it made me realize that I'm a resilient person. I can it also made me realize that I can plan and plan and plan, and things many times they don't go as planned. That it's natural to work sometimes with clients that might be difficult. You will run into issues that no matter how much you think you know what you're doing, unknown issues will come up, and it's about how am I going to problem solve in the calmest way possible without, you know, it's very easy to crumble and think, okay, I'm going to close everything, and, you know, just keep pushing yourself back up. So I think it taught me that, you know, with every hardship, there is always a solution if you're patient enough, if you're calm enough to, you know, deal with it in the correct manner. And I faced a lot of challenges, especially in the first 3 years of Tiny Toaster, where I thought, you know, okay, I have my industry experience of 10 years. You know, you sort of think, I've seen it all. I've done it all. I've worked here. I've worked there. But the second you're doing it by yourself, it's a whole different ball game. Yeah.
Tiny Toaster. What is that?
I know. You know, I'm surprised.
What is it exactly?
This is, you know, Safia, this name was not supposed, like, I can't believe this is actually and I love it now. So when it was when I decided I'm going to start my own company, it was the last week of the animation company that I loved that was shut down. It was shutting down, and I remember me and my ex-colleague Narjis, we were packing boxes. Khalas, like, you know, it was the end of an era. Like we were all sad that the company was shutting down due to unfortunate events. And I remember we were actually packing up in the office, and I told her, Narjis, I'm going to start my own company. And I was even scared to say the words. And then she's like, what? I said, that's it. I'm going to take the step. And then, but I needed something to make it a reality. So then the thought of like thinking of something huge scared me. Like, you know, I like to feel like I'm in control of tiny goals. So I scribbled down on a paper tiny. So I was telling her it's going to be something small. It'll be something small. I don't want an empire. It'll be something small, something meaningful I can control. So I like the idea of tiny. And then the more I thought about it, it excited me, but it scared me. Then I told myself, don't take yourself seriously. So I wrote toaster. The most unserious, you'll look at a toaster, you won't find it serious. So then I said, okay, tiny toaster. Okay, I like bread. I like toasted things. Okay, tiny toaster. So I told her, I'm going to call my company Tiny Toaster. And I'll probably change it once I license it, but it's going to give me something to work with. But it felt like something I was in control of. So that is the name of the company. And
For
it
8
works
years.
for 8 years. And not just that, I became so like attached to it. So many clients have bought me actual toasters. Once we finish a project, I have a collection of them at home that I feel like it's become part of the identity. And I don't know if I tempted fate, but I fell into working with a lot of F&B, which is food and beverage clients. And I don't know if it's an association with toasters. I'm not sure. But it was part of what was meant to be for me.
Amazing. If I'm gonna put it in steps now, so I am stuck.
Okay.
I'm struggling. I'm in the middle of a chaos, conflict, whatever, and I have to pick a path. I know my skills. I know what I'm capable of. But everything suddenly seems very complicated and huge, and I'm not sure if it's something I can deal with or not. So the steps are, first, be in control.
Yeah.
By choosing small steps.
Small steps, yes.
Nice. And make it real.
Yes, make it real. I gave myself like
Something
what seemed like
real.
a silly name,
Yeah.
but I gave myself something to hold on to.
To hold on to and then to start with.
Yeah.
And then what type of support did you need?
You know, you underestimate the support because the journey of an entrepreneur is quite lonely, to be honest, especially in the beginning, because you'll have very loud voices, and usually they come from a place of concern where you won't make it, you're going to put in so much money, and you know there's easier ways to do things, and suddenly everyone has a concrete opinion and a right opinion of what you should do. But I think the magic is just trust your own instinct, because I think the magic is actually what you yourself, your gut, what your gut is saying, even though it might not make sense. I remember when I first started, everyone told me, you know, you need a physical office, you need, you need an impressive office, you need, you know, to tell, and a lot of people in the industry were telling me,
Marketing campaign and da da da.
you need a campaign, you need this, you need this. And I was thinking, no, I like the idea of, you know, nomadic work, like a virtual system. Me and my colleagues always felt in the agencies that we're a lot more productive. Like if I was able to go work outdoors, for example, you know, go sit, you can see nature, like you didn't feel so confined. So I thought, no, I'm going to do this virtually, where we're going to meet together. So just trusting yourself. These are the most important steps.
Amazing. So when you mentioned that you judge brands the way you judge people, I was thinking about Coco Chanel. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. But literally that's what was in my mind. Because Chanel is a brand.
Yes, and you feel a certain way.
A certain way. I'm connected.
And it makes women, I guess, feel like it puts them, like it gives them confidence as well. This specific brand.
Yeah, but the most important of all the thing is the story behind it.
The story.
I think I started to become very attached to this brand when I heard the story and I watched the movie. And
I must say, I never watched the movie.
Yeah.
So
it's a very nice one.
It's been on the list.
The list, yeah.
Yeah.
So what is this about story and the connection between stories and brands?
I would love to give you an actual real life story of a client of mine. Yeah. And I've told him before that your story is one that will like actually quite literally like stay within me and my heart. So last year, because I told you I work with a lot of startups here, alhamdulillah, in the UAE and in the Gulf in general. I had a client, a young Emirati guy came up to me and he told me I'd like to start a sandwich shop. So you wouldn't really think much of it, right? So I was like, okay, a sandwich shop. So we had the Kickstart meeting and you'd think, okay, sandwich shop. I wonder like why he wants to start a sandwich. Maybe he just loves sandwiches. Like what will be the unique selling point of his sandwiches? Like, is it like Italian sandwiches? Like what American sandwiches? I don't know. So while we were talking, I noticed something different about his whole demeanor. And he was telling me how important it is for him, you know, to get this right. And he was very specific about, you know, the color should be a certain way. It should make people feel a certain way. And there was definitely something more than I just want to open a sandwich shop. So as we spoke, it turns out, and he's just in his late 20s, that he is a heart transplant survivor, a full heart transplant survivor, and he has the heart of a 40-year-old man. So he went through a
And
life.
he is at his late 20s.
Yes, he's a young guy, but very ambitious. But as we were talking, I realized this sandwich shop is not just a sandwich shop for him. This is a purpose. This is a dream that we're working on. I'm not working on a sandwich shop. I'm working on a dream. I'm working on something that gives him hope every day, that he went through a near life death experience, and he could have just come out of that and lived as carefully as possible. No, but he went into one of the hardest industries, which is food and beverage, and he wanted to create a space where he feels empowered. So that is the story behind it. And we actually used the story while we created, the branding visuals, the logo. It's called Toasted Bite in Sharjah, if you want to check it out. Yes,
Again,
great. The Toasted Bite.
The Toasted Bite.
Yes.
And can I meet that gentleman
Of
in
course,
my show?
I will definitely tell him.
I really would like, I invite
His
you
name is
all.
Saoud, and he's
Okay.
a great person.
Let's take a trip to Sharjah
Yes, and to go to the Toasted Bite.
and try that sandwich.
Yes.
And actually live the story.
Live a story, because even the brand identity, when we created the visual identity, the logo mark is a heart, actually. The way it's drawn, like in science books, anatomy, not your typical heart, but and he loved that, and he said, I want to embrace my story, and I want everyone that comes in to know that there is a story behind it. So I've worked with a number of so many startups, and usually it's the startups that have these stories. And that what was missing when I worked, in very large agencies. You kind of get lost, and all this human storytelling gets lost in huge corporations, unfortunately.
It's always about numbers. How many
becomes about
companies are you
numbers.
serving? How many brands did you launch?
So I always, even people always tell me, don't you want to expand? But I always say, I don't want to be the next biggest. I don't want to build an empire. I just want to build something with meaning, with purpose, something that me and my team, who are very happy, alhamdulillah, we love creating things together.
But does that mean if you received a request from someone that doesn't have that much of depth or a background story, they just simply want to have a logo, a brand? So how do you deal usually with requests like that?
Honestly, I choose the projects very carefully, and it's true. Not every project needs to have a deep-rooted human story, but it should have some form of clarity. And usually, now, when you're thinking about us as the creative team, whether it's the illustrators, me, the typographers, the strategy team, if there is no clarity, and usually the clarity does come from some kind of human emotion, it's very difficult for us to actually build something. In my 8 years, I've only ever pulled out of 3 projects, because I felt we don't have a base, we have nothing to work towards. That the client, their purpose for this brand was, I want to go viral. And it's very difficult. You don't go viral. People need to feel a certain way for you to go viral. But if as you said, the numbers, if your aim is just numbers, I want to go viral, I want to be the best, but based on what, it's very simple, then it's very hard even for us to build anything around it.
What is a brand?
A brand?
Because I'll tell you, a lot of people who I worked with in different institutes, they were like, a logo. Okay, to the maximum, a brand guideline. Like, wallah, it's not a logo.
This is our life.
And it's not a brand guideline. Can you give me the chance to build a strategy behind it?
Yeah.
And you can tell if the story is missing.
Yes.
In a brand, صح? So how do you explain it to people? What is a brand?
I explain it, and even clients sometimes, they also think I need a brand equals I need a logo. So it's not just a logo. You have your visuals, which is your logo, your color, your typography, brand guidelines, your illustrations, your graphic. You need that as your core. But a brand is honestly, it's a feeling, it's an energy, it's a tone. It's everything. It's what message you're communicating to your customers, intentionally or in subconsciously as well. It's a feeling. You're actually selling a feeling. And when you do all and you can do it in different touch points. For example, like if it's an organic brand, are we using craft paper? You know, it's strategic thinking and solutions that go into all the touch points, you know.
And it requires a lot of research.
It does. Like Dubai itself, as our city, is a brand because it's a brand of possibility. They've positioned themselves as a land of, honestly, like possibility. It's forward thinking. It's bold. It's, you know, innovative. It's people come to create dreams. So this is the best example of, like, you know, a real brand. And then of course you have all the government support that helps like do it, help you like create things. So a brand is really how something makes you feel. If you feel towards a brand, then you know they're doing it right. If you just feel like nothing and you don't feel like a repeat purchase, then, or a service, then there's something missing.
And also brand specialists tend to ask different, very strange questions.
We're like psychologists.
Yeah, exactly. I remember like maybe this was 12 years ago. There was a market research for one of the malls in Dubai.
Okay.
And the type of questions, when you think of this mall, which animal are you thinking of?
Oh, yes. You personify it.
A cat, maybe? I don't know. But I mean, leaving the joke aside, I mean, yeah, they do ask those type of questions to understand the motive, the emotion, the story, the feeling, a lot of things that really related to building a brand in order to sustain it.
Exactly.
That's why we never get bored of certain brands that has been there like for over 70 years.
And you trust them fully.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, look at this simple brand. Here, in the mic.
Oh, okay.
How do you judge it? How do you see it in the way I don't see it?
I mean, first I'll look at it and I'll think visually. First, I always look at it visually first. I think, okay, like the typography, it's all uppercase and it's not lowercase, or like, you know, does that give a sense of authority, for example? There is like only a 2-color combination. I'll assess it and dissect it. What does the orange mean? You know, orange and green are opposite on the color wheel. Why is it orange and green? So this is the way I would look at it. You know, my friends actually hate it when I go to restaurants with them, because whenever a menu is given, they always say, just pick the food. But I always look at the menu and why was it like this? And why is it folded? Like, you know.
But is it like standards related to brands? Should it be always simple?
No.
Clean and neat? Or we can have also that type of brands which are complicated, colorful?
I think people have actually abused minimalism, like to the extent where there's no soul. Like if you see the old brandings, even like an architecture branding, like you see how buildings were built, like whether it's cathedrals or like in museums, you have this maximalism where things are not just clean and simple. It really depends on the context. I feel it really depends on the purpose and what you're doing. Like, does it need to be clean and minimal? Because a lot of people think everything needs to be clean and minimal, but many times that's your downfall. Sometimes your messaging doesn't need to have that, you know, simplicity in it. You need something a bit more complex, a bit more, you know, detailed.
You spoke about the course, which is, you spoke about the digital
design and digital media.
Yeah, design and digital media. And I'm sure like there was like an element of AI maybe introduced or not? Yeah, a lot. Okay. What would you say to someone will say, why do I need to go through this entire process in order to come up with a brand? Well, I can, you can see where this question is going, yeah? Okay. Well, I can just easily subscribe to one of the tools and just...
See, this is like a dagger in us. Because the result, you'll never get the result. Sure. You know, I'm not against AI. I love AI. Actually, one of the reasons I did the course is because I needed to educate myself, because you do need to be up to date with what's happening with the AI. AI is just a tool. It just like it helps you structure what you're doing, but at the core of it, your brand is still connected to like people, the emotion, like our cultural context. AI won't be able to depict like, cultural references the way we do through our experiences, stories from like, generations, grandparents. Like if I'm trying to build like a jewelry brand and I want like a symbol, I might have a story, something to do with my great grandmother. AI won't be able to generate that for you. So you'll only get very surface stuff. So you use AI, like we use AI in the studio, but we use it for prototyping. We use it like, to clean up analysis. When we're gonna make mock-ups, we use it, to, instead of printing like 100 boxes, we'll do it on AI. Like there's really advanced tools which are great. Generate images fast, quickly for presentations, just to show references. But
maybe even analyzing the archetype of the brand itself.
But I've had clients come to me, tell me, I've made this logo on ChatGPT, and you can tell, and they're like, but we're not happy with it. This is it.
That's why.
This is exactly it, because they'll never take over what we can do with like what we can put into it. But we should also not be ignorant in the way of thinking, no, but we don't need AI. We do need it, but use it in a smartly.
Even the way younger generation is thinking
They're
of
dependent
designs and branding.
Yeah.
So what do you say about this? Because I can see now younger generation are really depending on AI for different type of requests and projects, etc.
And I see it as well, like, with like whether it's like younger cousins or younger anybody, like, they're in a very fragile position where I think they're very lucky that they have all this at their fingertips, but they never got to experience, the other side, where you can build something without the tools, and then you use it just to sort of complement your initial idea. But I think it is important to even in my course in uni, there was some parts of the course that we were not, even though the course was for AI, we had to build things without AI and then use the AI, just to always make sure that we complement both sides.
What about the cost effective element?
It's
like
amazing.
the cost effectiveness element. So some of the institutes or company will say, why should we pay that amount of money for a brand strategy, etc., and designing and etc., while we just can do it with one of those tools?
I think it really depends what you're using it for. Things like strategy, I feel like you really need people to do it, humans to do it. Because it's going to just give you something that's pre-existed in a different way. And you'll never get the result, like a very unique result as you would as a person. But things like, okay, if you're creating on a very basic level, a presentation for a client, you need images. Instead of hiring a photographer, a cast, everything, I might, not for a campaign, just for a presentation, I will use AI. But clearly label it. You will not deceive the clients. This is AI generated to show you the tone we're going for. Over here, you save a lot of money. But when you do the actual like campaign, then I would encourage that you use people. So it's just using it in a smart way.
Good. If you have the chance to recreate something that is existed already, or starting something from the scratch, which one is easier for you to deal with?
Scratch, always. I don't like to adapt something that's already existed, because
have you gone through the
many
similar
times.
And then what was the result?
The result is, when people are because many times you might be asked to rebrand something, and maybe the branding visually, it's true, does not look that great, but people already associate it or have a deep like connection with it. Even if you did the best thing possible, people don't really like change. It would be, why did you change it? We're used to this. But you could be sure, like within time, they'll get used to the new thing. It's just that element. So I don't like having a previous association. I'd rather create from the ground up, because it's an extra challenge.
Yeah, it is actually. I'm going through something similar. Okay. Also, I would like to look at other projects like 11 Woodfire or UAE AI. Okay.
Very different.
Yeah,
opposite
very
spectrum.
different. So I would like to know more about the experience of each one of them, the story behind it. What?
Okay,
Yeah.
so 11 Woodfire, it's a Michelin star restaurant. I'm sure you know, one of the best restaurants there. The team was amazing to work with. So I don't even know how I can compare them, but I would say the process is the same. So we're looking at a Michelin star restaurant. It's very high end. Clients are great to work with. They have a clear vision, but it's very artistic in the sense that the even the cooking method is artistic. It's like an open flame. So it's a certain way. The AI project was a lot of fun. It's a government entity. There was room for exploration, like a bold movement. Our limitations were different, but I would say building them, we went through the same process, even though it's very difficult. It's what's the purpose? And it's almost, I look at it like a painting, and then how do we paint it? Sort of. What do we do to extract meaning out of both? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. But I'm also curious to know more about your experience in sense of what you've learned about yourself in each one of them and what you've learned about your team as well.
Sometimes I realize that we can bring a vision to the client that we believe, and it happened with Woodfire because it was a few takes. This is it. This is how we experienced it, through our touch point meetings, through our brainstorming. This is how we're going to execute it. But we go and we present it in a way, and you need to learn that there'll be many people that are involved in the final decision. So you need to be okay with adapting what they would like, but still be in a position where you believe in it enough. So that's a bit hard in branding. And then it's also, it comes back to yourself. I remember when I was working in agencies, I used to associate my worth with the work. So, oh my God, when I was working with agencies, it would be sort of like the client didn't like it, it means I'm a failure, But now, once you have your own thing and you've grown and matured, you realize it's not a direct link.
And if they changed a lot of
it's okay. It's okay to change because I think a lot of
you're keeping that space between
there has to be that space.
Self-worth and with the desire of let's say the clients.
And when I speak to a lot of young entrepreneurs, they usually have that they make a mistake, and you will have mistakes. You make a mistake in the first project, oh my God, I failed, maybe I should close this down. You should just be ready to make mistakes and accept that you will make a million mistakes. Like I know I have before I was able to reach where I am,
How many times you've told yourself, I'm gonna stop, that's it.
And to keep it honest, many times.
And how
especially
did you
in
pick
the
up
beginning.
yourself then from that point?
I go back and I remember that piece of paper where I scribbled tiny toaster. Was I happy? Was I not happy? Because you wanna. The aim is when you're working is I want to be happy every day I go to work, and alhamdulillah I can say almost every day is a happy day because I love what I do.
What are the other type of arts that you are combining into your practices? Sometimes that you need that type of arts, sometimes you need just a space for yourself outside of the practice.
Oh, outside the branding, honestly, when I want to disconnect, I don't want to look at anything brand related, but the other arts is like foreign films. I love going and watching foreign films, films in different languages. For me, this is an art form which is relaxing and nothing to do with my world, but can weirdly draw inspiration to me. So I like going, Cinema Aqil always has great foreign films.
Yeah.
So that for me is something I love to do. And when I always tell myself, when I disconnect from work, I will properly disconnect. I'm not gonna, do hustle all night if because you will reach a dead end, and you don't want to burn yourself out. When you stop, you actually stop. And the first 3 years of Tiny Toaster, when I was still building the team and everything, I was working 24/7. And then I realized it's even worse than working in agencies. Because you're working all the time. That was something I had to learn also, when to stop. And I'm sure you can want to deal with it. And I was supposed to give myself a life, a balance. So now I have like very concrete rules. Like when it's off time, it's off.
But don't you believe that, or let's say, don't you agree that there is really no balance when you pick your battle and you decide to just go with your heart and mind?
Yes, especially when you're enjoying it.
When you're enjoying,
Yeah.
there's no balance.
There is no balance.
صح?
Yeah, that's true.
So we are dealing with no balance with balance.
Exactly.
You told me about brand Dubai. I mean,
Yes.
the
Dubai, the city as a
the
brand.
city itself, not
Yeah.
the brand Dubai.
Yeah.
I mean, so how do you look at Dubai as a brand?
It's like, honestly, it's just like, such an honor, a privilege. Like, our home is like, one of, the most sought out cities in the world. I look at Dubai as like really the city where anything is possible. And it's true. Like you feel like I can, I think if I was like, when I was in Scotland, actually, I tried to look into the market and I realized that there's no way I could be where I am, if I was in anywhere but Dubai, because of the facilities, because of the support, because of the community care, because of like, people want to work with, homegrown people, with locals. Like you are able to build something truly unique in this space. So I look at Dubai really as like, the gem of possibilities.
It's the translation really of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there is one brand that you really would like to change.
Change? Am I allowed to say this? I can't think of anything.
No, something that you
Like in a negative way, like change it or add on it.
add on it, change the color,
The
the narrative, anything.
I don't have anything in particular, but I've always wanted to work on an ice cream brand. This is something I've never done.
Ice cream.
Yes. I've always wanted to work like on a proper ice cream brand,
Okay.
full on ice cream.
Yalla, the invitation is now
Yes.
open.
And if anyone's got an ice cream
and
brand,
start up with But why startups?
because startups are dreams. Startups are usually people and not necessarily even young. Like sometimes you get people that are at the end of their career and then they decide, and there's so much magic in that too. I want my own thing, because when you're dealing with dreams and you're dealing with passion and you're dealing with people who have taken a risk. So I feel like, it's a duty. I need to help them, pursue this dream. That's why I love startups. It's not just something we create and we forget about. No, you remember the people that behind it. And so many of the clients, they became like family to us, because it's like our dream came to life, That's why startups.
Can feel the emotions here. And يعني just hearing that story from you about the Saud,
Yes.
it made me really feel like, wow, if someone will take good care of my brand in this way, they will handle it with care and they will try to reveal it to people in a very beautiful way. I would put my life and my entire company between their hands.
Yeah.
Because they will look at it with really care.
And you have to,
Yeah.
you feel it's like a amana almost when you deal
Amana,
with
صح.
people's brands.
Yeah.
We really take it like so deeply when we're working with it.
Amal, what is your brand as a human?
Your questions are
That's the coach questions.
I like to think of it in a very I just like Tiny Toaster. I try not to overcomplicate everything. I try to simplify everything. So if I was to look at my brand as a thing, I would hope it's just something trustworthy. I would like someone to come to me and say, I'm coming to you because I just I trust you. I don't necessarily need to be, the best branding agency out there, but you have that form of like trust. Like you're working with someone who won't let you down as much as they can.
So adventure,
Yeah, adventurous definitely.
hope,
Yes.
and trust.
Yes.
Good. Okay. For anyone who would like to start this career in branding, so what are the main things the main steps they should take? Should they start from a college?
Definitely yes. I feel
Definitely. Academia is a
you
must.
need it. Yeah, you need it. I mean, I had told you I went into literature, but then after that, I did the softwares, and then I did a diploma in advertising, and then I did a second diploma in business management, and then after that, I did my degree in digital design. So you do need a background in something, you know. You need to know how the tools, because you will be using a lot of software, a lot of tools. You also need to know how you're going to be dealing with your audience. So you need that strategy, that research knowledge. And then definitely the artistic eye.
And then if they didn't have the chance to be part of an entity or work with an agency or start their own business, would you advise them to go for a freelancing approach, for example, or using one of those platforms where they just can place their projects and tap into different opportunities and different type of clients?
I mean, any kind of knowledge that you can that's available and you can have is definitely never a waste. It's always a plus. But it really depends what you want to do, you know? Like some of the artists that I work with in my team, like one of them, he's just an incredibly talented artist. He doesn't have a degree in that, but he has the art. So we will use him only for the art, not necessarily on the strategy part. He won't be involved, but you know, everyone has their strengths.
Nice. So also knowing their strength and where to use that strength when it comes to building a brand.
Exactly.
It's very, very important. Would you like to add something else to this conversation?
I think
because I have 2 more questions.
Go ahead. I think it's been so insightful. And honestly, you know, I was telling you before I came, I was preparing the questions and nothing I prepared has come on.
I told you.
Nothing. I was
not going to use those questions.
Last night I was preparing answers and I was thinking, okay, but nothing I prepared.
Actually, this is a habit of mine.
Yeah, so I've answered on the spot.
Yeah, all the guests experience the same thing. Okay, so how do your family perceive those brands? So if they see a brand that you've created,
they get so excited. Okay. They take pictures. They'll buy it. If it's like a food brand, they'll buy the product. They'll bring the packaging. They'll say, remember when you were working at this at night?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're very supportive.
So the biggest cheerleader?
Yes, alhamdulillah.
Who?
All of them.
All of them.
All of
your
them.
mom, your
everyone,
dad.
My sisters, my brother, all of them. My friends, they all have rooted for me. I'm very blessed like that.
Any plan to work closely with Ibtisam in one project, since you have that also passion of writing and reading?
You know, we have actually worked together on her very first book. I art directed it for her while she wrote, and that was the first time we worked together. So we did something together, and that was like a great experience as well.
Amazing, Amal. One last thing, the question that you would like to ask our next guest. You don't know who is the next guest.
Oh, okay. Okay. I don't know the guest. You can ask the next guest. What excites you to wake up in the morning? What is it? What is that thing that, you know, that you could tell yourself, I'm excited because of this?
Can I ask our audience as well the same question? So what excites you when you wake up?
What gives you that buzz in the morning?
What gives you that buzz in the morning? Yeah. So I'll keep that question for you as well. Think about it. And we will ask that question to our next guest.
I love that.
Thank you, Amal.
Thank you so much, Safia, for having me.
What an interesting conversation. There are so many brands around us today, but every few truly stay with us. Because in the end, a brand is not a logo. It's not a message. It's a feeling that lingers. And maybe the real question we leave with you today is not how do we build a brand, but how do we feel a brand?